Hello and welcome to Sew with Christine. In today's video, I'm going to show you how to cut and sew this beautiful jumpsuit with an asymmetrical shoulder line and a side belt. So if this is what you're interested in watching, then watch right through to the end. Here is my fabric, and this is a 2 yards fabric. For a larger size person, you're going to make use of more fabric. Also, I'm going to recommend you use a stretchy one so you wouldn't need to add a zipper at the back. Alright, let's start off with the upper part. As we can see, the upper part is what makes this jumpsuit different from a regular jumpsuit. I've gone ahead now to fold my fabric into 4, and I have the length of this fabric to be the length of the waistline. First, we are going to take the shoulder measurement, the half width of the shoulder measurement, which is 7 inches. Next, I'm going to mark 2.5 inches for the neck width. Now you can mark 3 inches or 3.5 depending on your preference and your body size. Next, I'm going to mark 2.5 for the neck depth, and I will connect this way. From the shoulder point there where I marked 7, I'll go outward by 4 inches. These 4 inches will serve as the length of the sleeve. This is for one part of the sleeve. If you look at this picture on the screen, you realize that one part of the sleeve is short while the other one is long. So for the shorter side, I went out by 4 inches. From this part now, I'm going to come downward by 1 inch for the shoulder slope, and I will connect the neck width to meet with that 1 inch. Then from there, I'll come downward by 8 inches. This will serve as the sleeve opening. Note that we are working on the shorter sleeve. Then at the waist area here, I'm going to mark the quarter waist, and I'll add 2 inches to that. So if you measure around this part where you have the sleeve opening and you realize it is not up to your bust size, then you can increase the length of your sleeve. Hence, you are going to be needing more fabric, since what I'm using here is just 2 yards. This is for a small size. So this is where I want you to pay close attention, because we are going to be drafting the second part of the sleeve now. From the half shoulder width measurement where I marked the 7 inches, I'll come out by 2.5 inches. This is how far I want the shoulder to drop, and this is where you are going to determine yours. How far you want the shoulder to drop. If you want it 3 inches or more, you're going to decide that here and mark what you want there. Next, I'm going to take the measurement from the neck width to meet with this part where I marked the 2.5 now, and I have that at 8.5 inches. So what I have there, I'm going to mark on this side. But getting to this part, the fabric stops at 7.5. So I'm just going to leave it that way and extend the shoulder slope to the end. If you are making use of a bigger fabric, then go ahead and take the measurements that you have from the neck width to the 2.5 inches. So whatever you have there, you mark on this side of the dress. After marking the shoulder slope to the edge of this dress, I'm going to come downward from the shoulder slope by 8 inches for the sleeve opening. Then I'm going to go inward by about 4 inches and draw my curve down to the waist area. I'm using the same waist measurement at the waist area. Now coming to the neckline, this is where we are now going to draw the asymmetrical shoulder line. So from the 2.5 inches that we marked at the shoulder area, connect to meet with the neck depth. After that, I will go ahead now and cut this. So watch how I cut. First of all, I cut both pieces together for the neck area. After that, I'm going to raise one part up this way. Then I'll cut the asymmetrical line. So I'm going to bring this piece back so we can use this now to mark how we are going to cut the bottom part. Next, I'll lift this upper piece up, then I'll cut this bigger sleeve area like so. Then I'll go ahead now to open this side of the sleeve. After that, I'm going to transfer the lines that I have here, that's for the smaller sleeve, I'll transfer the curve there like so, and I'll also transfer the shoulder width line. You're just going to mark the length of the short sleeve at that point, then connect downward. After connecting, I'm going to cut this off. So this part is for the short sleeve. So from here, I'm going to cut out the shoulder slope for the shorter sleeve. So we are done with the cutting of the upper parts. Now guys, this is what we have here. This is the look. You can see the neckline, you can see the longer side of the sleeve and the shorter part of the sleeve. Alright, for the lower parts where we have the pants, I'm going to be using this paper to quickly illustrate that. If you've been following my channel, I've done a number of tutorials on how to cut pants. Since this is a jumpsuit, I'm just going to make a few changes here. So let this be the front, and we are going to cut two of these when it's on the fabric. Next, we are going to determine the crotch depth. To determine your crotch depth, divide your hip circumference by 4. For this, the value I got is 9.5 inches. So since this is a jumpsuit, you're going to add about 3 inches to this. So 2.5 to 3 inches. That is what you're going to add. I'll go ahead now and mark down the value. After marking, I'll draw a straight line over the marked areas. Next, I'm going to mark the hip line. So the hip line is about 2 inches away from the crotch depth line. Afterwards, I'll go ahead now and connect this. So we have our hip line and we have the crotch depth line. To get the width of the fold, add about 3 inches to your half-time measurement. So the half-time measurement I'm working with here is 11.5 inches. I added 3 inches to that is 14.5 inches. Next, we are going to mark the quarter hip measurement on this line. So I've gone ahead now to mark 9.5 inches, and I will connect this way. This is where we are going to mark the thigh measurements, that's half thigh measurements. If you do not have the half thigh measurement, divide your hip by 16 inches or divide your quarter hip measurement by 4 inches. So I got 2.3 and I'm going to mark that value here. After that, I will connect this way. So we have our crotch depth done. Next, take the total measurements on the crotch depth line there and mark that at the hem area. Then at the hem area, add 1.5 inches to your total measurement there. Now coming to the waist area, I'll come downward here by 1 inch. Then I'll connect to the side like so. Next is for the seam allowance. I'm going to add 1 inch seam allowance to this. Then at the crotch area too, I will add 1 inch seam allowance, and I'm going to connect my curve to the seam allowance like so, and I'll extend that 1 inch downward. So this is it about the front part. You can see this is very easy to achieve. Next is for us to draft out the back parts. So place the front piece onto the back like so, and you are going to extend this thigh region by 2 inches. Do the same thing now at the hem. Mark your 2 inches there, then go ahead and trace all the other areas at the center onto the back pattern. Coming to the top parts, I'll go up by 1.5 inches. Then I'm going to draw a diagonal line from the side to the center back. For the front, I went down by 1 inch. For the back, I went up by 1.5 inches. Now I'm going to cut this out. Now we are going to take the measurement of the waist. So the quarter waist measurement is 8 inches. I'm going to add 2 inches to that for ease. From this seam allowance line that I have here, I'm going to mark the 8 inches plus 2 extra, that is 10 inches. I'll do the same thing for the back. I'll measure from the seam allowance and mark 10 inches. After that, I'll go ahead and connect downward to the hip area, the excess that I have at the sides. After connecting, I'll cut off the excess. Alright, this is how to draft the pants area of these jumpsuits, and this is my fabric where I've cut this out already. So I'm going to split the back part of this upper piece into two and join the waist area to the lower part of this pants. So I've gone ahead to join the waist area, and here we are. Next is for us to fix our zipper to this. Mark where your zipper will end and close off the remaining parts. For the front part, you are going to bring both front pieces together and close the center this way. After closing off the center front, I'm going to bring in the upper piece for the front part, and I'll place that this way and sew round. And this is it. I've gone ahead to fix my zipper. I made use of an invisible zipper, so you should make use of an invisible zipper. Better still use a stretchy fabric. I'll bring in the front one. You can see we have closed off the center front and joined the waistline. Next is to close the shoulder area. So you can see where we have this pointy edge. That is where you are going to start your stitching from. Before we close off the side, I'm going to add the belt to the side. Now if you want to make your belt bigger, kindly go ahead and do that. I'll fold the belt into two like so to notch the midpoint. After notching the midpoint, I'm going to place the notch parts onto the area that we just joined, and I'll bring the front piece over like so. So I'm going to sew from the sleeve down to the hem of this jumpsuit. I'm going to face the belt to this side as well, and sew from the sleeve area to the hem of this dress. Alright guys, this is it. I've gone ahead to close off the shoulders as you can see, and I've also sewn the sides. Next is for us to join the crotch area down to the hem. We're going to bring these together like so and sew from that midpoint to the hem area. After sewing, I'm going to sew the sleeve and the hem of this dress. So when you are done sewing, this is what it should look like. Next is for us to pipe the neckline. I have this strap of fabric at 1.5 inches wide. I'm going to fold this into two and use this to pipe the neckline. And that is all for this tutorial. Thank you so much for watching. I'll catch you in the next one.